Hey everybody, we're back, and it's the end of day one of our Barcelona trip. So let me talk a little bit about today. So I already kind of addressed this in some of the other little bits and pieces that I've done, but I wanted to do more of a full recap while my memory's fresh and talk about some of the ups and downs of the day, and hopefully you can take away some things from what we did right and what we did wrong, and maybe learn a few things for yourself. So we had a 1 o'clock p.m. flight, or 13 o'clock flight, out of San Francisco. So we left our home at about 9 a.m. this morning, and we got to the airport at about 10, and we were extremely early. But like I said in the other video, when we're not early, when we are running late or at all, even the slightest bit, it really stresses out Kim and I. So we've decided that we just want to get to the airport super early, and we'll walk around and go get coffee and spend lots of money on it and entertain the kids, and it doesn't matter to me. I will hang out at the airport for 4 or 5 hours because I would rather do that than be stressed out at home while I'm waiting trying to get to the airport for my flight. So my tip number one to you is, if getting to the airport, going through security, if all that stresses you out, get there early. Do it slowly. For the first time in my life, I actually didn't feel rushed going through security because it's all in here. All of those people in line behind you aren't actually rushing you. It's in your head. I know, I feel the same way. Oh, I gotta hurry up. I gotta get all my stuff in the thing. It's not like that. No one's rushing you. Just breathe and go slow. We got through security. It was no big deal. We found our gate. It was no big deal. The kids overall today were spectacularly behaved. And I think a lot of that is due to the fact that we set expectations with them. So, tip number 2. Be honest with your kids. Set expectations with them. Tell them what's coming. Tell them what's happening. We went through our day step by step at every little thing. Hey, when we get to the airport, first thing we have to do is go to the ticket counter. Next thing we have to do is go through security. Then we have to go through customs potentially. So there will be a few steps before we're able to sit down at the gate. And we let them know, and each time, okay, we went through security, now we have to go through customs. And we just kept telling them the same story throughout the day. Hey, we're going to take this flight, then we're going to get off, we're going to walk around for a bit, then we're going to get on our next flight. That kind of thing. Just communicate with your kids. If you tell them what the plan is, and you do the plan, and you keep them on board, it'll make things a lot easier. I believe in being honest with the kids and telling them what's going on and treating them like real people, and they respond that way generally. My tip number 3 for you, we had determined ahead of time, since we have 2 flights. We have a San Francisco to Toronto flight, and then we have a Toronto to Barcelona flight. We had decided early on that we were going to try to break up the screen time, so that on the first flight, which was shorter, we were going to try to do no screen time if possible, or very little, so that when we got to the second flight, we could do much more screen time and then have them sleep. That tended to work out pretty well. Unfortunately, our first leg from San Francisco to Toronto was a beautiful plane. It had USB ports and AC outlets, screens in the back of each seat, and all that stuff. Our flight from Toronto to Barcelona, the plane, it might as well have been from 1984. There was no screens anywhere. There were power outlets in the bottom of the seats that didn't work. It was kind of a janky plane. But hey, you know what? We're here safe. It doesn't matter. But my point was simply, try to break up the screen time. If you can have different activities for the first flight or the first half of the flight as the second half, it'll add a little variety and keep the little ones interested. My next tip for you, and this I have to give 100% credit to Kim for, is have surprises and little gifts and things for your kids. Kim had planned out all sorts of special things that the kids never knew about. We had sticker books for each of them. We had like a little new action figure for each of them. We had different travel games and travel books, and we still have surprises that they haven't seen yet, because we planned on having different little things that we could give to them at different points throughout the trip to keep them engaged. It takes a little bit of effort up front, but if it keeps your kids engaged, it keeps them laughing, it keeps them smiling, it keeps them in a good mood, hey, it's worth the cost in my opinion. Certainly when you're going for a 17, 18, 20-hour day and you're flying across the earth. That was my next tip. So Let's see, what else do we... So we got on the planes. Our first leg went okay with the no screen time. I sat with Emma, who was 4. We did some doodle cards. She played with her new little action figure. She did her sticker book a little bit. We looked through Where's Waldo. We did 1,000 activities inside of 5 hours, because that's what being 4 is all about. So then the second half of the trip, I sat with Eli. Eli and I watched a movie for about 45 minutes, and then I asked him to lay down, and he did. And then I had almost no sleep during the flight. It's getting late here. It's almost 10 o'clock Barcelona time. I've been up for almost 24 hours, so I'm about to hit the sack, but I wanted to do this before I got through the end, while it was still fresh in my very, very, very tired noggin. So the flights went well. We landed on time, got to the airport okay, got out of the airport okay. Getting to the metro was a little clumsy. The kids started to fade. Eli started to fade at the Barcelona airport when we were trying to get from the airport to our B&B. He was starting to not pay attention and kind of fall all over himself from being tired in the travel. So we had to keep encouraging him. Getting on the metro, dealing with it, navigating it, finding our stop, finding the connecting stop, all of that was far simpler than I could have thought. The hardest part was trying to figure out which ticket was the right one to buy, because you had to buy a special ticket that went from the airport that was €5 roughly, rather than the $1.50 or the €150 that a regular metro ticket is. I'm not big on all-inclusive passes, but that's only because I tend to not do 100% of the touristy stuff. Or I don't, the kids are small. Emma's 4, so we don't do a lot of museums and things that would be interesting to adults but not so interesting to children. So all-inclusive passes right now aren't good for us, but that doesn't mean it's not something that you might want. So, look into that. But for us, we just wanted to get a regular metro ticket. We're real confident riding the metro. So once we got the ticket right, it was real easy to look at a map. We knew the stop we had to get off at. We found where we were coming from. We read the metro map. It was no big deal. I would encourage you as a traveler to push yourself outside of your comfort zone a little bit and try something new. This was our first time navigating the metro on our own from the airport to our B&B. Last year when we went to Rome, we had a driver pick us up from the airport and take us to the airport at the end of the trip, and that was awesome. It made it super easy. This was a little more challenging, but honestly not much. If you've been to a big city before, if you live in a big city as we do, public transportation is public transportation. The bus is a bus, the subway is the subways, the metro is the whatever. So they're all very similar. If you know one, you can probably figure out the other. And all of the machines and stuff are all in every language. So, it was no big deal. So I would encourage you to try something new. That went off surprisingly well, considering we'd never really done it before and we've never been to Barcelona before. So then we got off the metro, and the walk from the metro to our Airbnb was about 10 minutes, and it was long. After that long day of, getting to the airport and a flight and another airport and another flight and then the metro, it was a lot, and we were really tired. So we got to our Airbnb after about 10 or 15 minutes of walking, and we had to haul, I had to haul all our stuff up 3 flights of stairs, which I wasn't too happy about. Really steep stairs, really steep European narrow stairs, the kind like this. Yeah, that wasn't fun. I was pretty severely out of breath, but you know what? I'll be out of breath because Barcelona is amazing. We've been here 6 hours, 7 hours, and it's absolutely incredible. It's amazing. You absolutely have to come. So, we got checked into our B&B, we dropped our stuff, we took a second, rested, and then we went out for a walk. Went to the patisserie, grabbed a couple of sweets, the kids ran around the playground, we went to a supermercat, and we got a handful of stuff, some burgers, some buns, whatever, just for Kim and I, because we hadn't really eaten anything. And then that's when Emma melted down. When we got back from taking our walk, Emma just lost her mind and just, screaming at every little thing, totally she melted down. I'll say this, the kids were overall outstanding. And, look, everybody breaks down, everybody hits their limit. It was frustrating in the moment, but I'm going to say the same thing that I said last year. When you travel with kids, your kids will be difficult. They will. But will they be more difficult than they would be normally if you were just at home? For us, the answer is no, not really. It's just how well can you deal with that behavior when you're not in an environment of your own, your comfort zone, your own space. I think we handle it fairly well. I'd like to think so. Not all the time, but we do the best we can. But I think that has a lot to do with it. Your kids are going to be your kids no matter where they are in the world, so they're not going to act like angels on the trip, but they're also not going to be demons from hell if that's not what they already do. Kids are fairly adaptable. So, she hit her melting point. She broke down. We've fought a little bit because that's what we do, and we sorted it out, and she apologized, and we apologized, and we went out for one more walk. We were trying to push the kids to actual bedtime. They are now in bed. So we succeeded. We'll see how the jet lag thing goes tomorrow. Emma and Kim ended up going home early from our second walk, and Eli and I ended up walking all the way to Sagrada Familia. It was dusk, so we didn't get to see a whole lot, but I know he really wanted to see it. Eli's been wanting to come to Spain since he was 4. And since that, Eli has just not stopped talking about Spain. He just won't stop talking about Spain. Spain, 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 Spain at every turn. He's never been here. I don't know where it comes from, but in 3 years, it has not abated. That's why we took him to Spain, and he's been loving it. When we were walking back today, Eli told me that he felt like this city was meant for him, which I thought was a really astute observation for a 7-year-old. So, came back. Eli and I got a gelato on our walk because I thought he had deserved it. He'd been fantastic all day long. We ate our gelato, came back, put the kids to bed. Tomorrow will be our first full day in Barcelona. We'll have to see how everybody does without travel anxiety and travel tiredness and all the stuff. So, sorry for the weird lighting. I'm just kind of making do here in the Airbnb with whatever I got. I will have more bits and pieces for you as we go forth. So there are surprises in store for you as well. So stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in to Tiny Lion's Big World, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.